Jamie Davis case. 8-year-old Jamie Lavis vanished on a sunny bank holiday, sparking one of Manchester's largest investigations since the Moors murders. What began as a frantic search for a missing boy turned into a chilling tale of betrayal, manipulation, and devastating loss. Jamie Lavis was a bright, mischievous, and adventurous young boy who brought energy to his close-knit family. As the middle child of 5 siblings, he was known for his cheeky smile and boundless curiosity. Despite being just 8 years old, Jamie had a knack for making his presence known, even though he was small for his age, standing only 4 feet tall. The Lavis family lived in a lively neighborhood where children often played outside, filling the streets with laughter and games. Like most kids in the area, Jamie loved exploring and spending time outdoors with his siblings and friends. Yet, despite his adventurous spirit, Jamie was afraid of the dark and always made sure to be home by dinner time, a routine his family cherished. It was May 5th, a sunny bank holiday weekend, and Jamie was outside playing as usual. By 5 p.m., the Lavis family had gathered for dinner, but Jamie didn't come home. At first, his parents assumed he had simply lost track of time or gone to a friend's house. After all, he was an adventurous boy who loved being out with his friends. But as the hours passed and there was still no sign of him, their worry grew. By 8 p.m., the Lavis family was searching the streets, calling his name and knocking on doors. When their search turned up nothing, they made the call no parent ever wants to make. They contacted the police. What followed was one of the largest search efforts Manchester had ever seen. Neighbors, friends, and strangers rallied to help, scouring parks, streets, and alleyways. The media broadcast appeals for information, and Jamie's family begged for his safe return. The entire community united, hoping for the best, but fearing the worst. As the investigation began, tips and sightings started to pour in. One recurring detail caught the police's attention. Jamie had been seen on the 219 bus on the morning he disappeared. Witnesses reported that he was riding alone, which was unusual for a boy his age. It was even suggested that Jamie might have been on the bus to buy a birthday gift for his mother. This is where Darren Vickers entered the picture. Darren, a 28-year-old bus driver who lived just a few streets away from the Lavis family, told police he remembered seeing Jamie that day. According to Darren, Jamie had purchased a day-saver ticket and spent hours riding his bus, happily looking out the window. He claimed that after Jamie had enough, he dropped him off near his home around the end of his shift. At first, Darren's account seemed like a helpful piece of the puzzle, and the family took comfort in his cooperation. However, as the days turned into weeks with no sign of Jamie, Darren's involvement would become far more complex. As the search for Jamie intensified, Darren Vickers became more than just a witness. He inserted himself into the Lavis family's life, offering constant support and becoming a regular presence in their home. Darren seemed to genuinely care, helping with searches, comforting the family, and even speaking to the media on their behalf. Over time, he took on the role of an unofficial spokesperson, leading press conferences and urging anyone with information to come forward. To the Lavis family, Darren was a pillar of strength, someone they could lean on during their darkest days. However, his growing media presence began to raise eyebrows. He seemed to relish the attention, appearing frequently in interviews and offering details about the case that made some uneasy. The more Darren involved himself, the more his behavior drew suspicion. Why was a bus driver so deeply invested in this case? Why was he spending so much time with the family of a boy he barely knew? The community began to whisper, and the police quietly started to shift their focus, wondering if Darren knew more about Jamie's disappearance than he was letting on. As the investigation continued, cracks began to appear in Darren Vickers' story. While he claimed Jamie had spent hours riding the bus quietly, other passengers painted a very different picture. They described Jamie as playful and energetic, turning the bus into his personal playground, even handing out tickets and fiddling with the gears. This raised doubts about Darren's account of Jamie being just another passenger. Questions also arose about the day-saver ticket Darren said Jamie had bought. Children weren't allowed to purchase those tickets, leading police to wonder if Jamie ever had one at all, or if Darren had fabricated that detail to cover his tracks. Digging deeper, police investigated Darren's background and discovered troubling details. Many of the references on his job application were fake, and one connection led them to a convicted pedophile. This discovery, combined with Darren's inconsistent story and unusual fixation on the case, raised alarm bells. It was becoming clear that Darren wasn't just a concerned citizen. He might be hiding something far more sinister. As the police delved further into Darren Vickers' behavior, his actions grew even more unsettling. Darren began showing unusual interest in Jamie's older brother, John, taking him to the woods under the pretense of talking about Jamie. In one chilling instance, he warned John that if he didn't behave, he might end up in the same place as his brother. Darren also started buying John gifts, such as a new bike and shoes, but largely ignored Jamie's other siblings. Meanwhile, disturbing testimonies from local teenagers added to the growing suspicion. They reported that Darren had tried to lure them into the woods late at night, claiming he'd seen Jamie there. One teen recalled Darren showing him a photo of Jamie and pointing into the trees, saying, "I think that's him." Feeling uneasy, the teen quickly left, but his account gave investigators crucial new leads. With these tips, police launched an exhaustive search of the wooded area. After combing through the site, officers discovered a tarpaulin hidden beneath the brush. Beneath it were scattered clothing and remains that matched Jamie's description. Among the items was a small jawbone and milk teeth, later confirmed through DNA testing to belong to Jamie. The heartbreaking discovery marked a turning point in the case, solidifying Darren Vickers as the prime suspect and revealing the true extent of the tragedy. Following the discovery of Jamie's remains, police finally arrested Darren Vickers on charges of abduction and murder. However, the Lavis family, who had grown to trust Darren completely, refused to believe he could be involved. To them, he had been a loyal friend, living with them, comforting them, and tirelessly helping in the search for Jamie. The idea that he could be responsible felt unimaginable. Even after his arrest, Darren continued his manipulative behavior. During his trial, he made shocking and baseless claims that Jamie's father had killed his own son. He even alleged that he and Jamie's mother, Karen, were having an affair and that she was carrying his child. These lies forced Karen to undergo a DNA test to prove Darren's claims were false, adding further pain to an already devastated family. Despite Darren's attempts to deflect blame, the evidence against him was overwhelming. After a 7-week trial, he was found guilty of abducting, sexually assaulting, and murdering Jamie. The judge praised the police and the teenagers who came forward with key testimonies, emphasizing the importance of their bravery in securing justice. Darren was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 25 years, ensuring that he would not harm another child. Though the verdict brought some closure, the Lavis family's heartbreak over losing Jamie could never truly be healed. In prison, Darren Vickers' behavior continued to shock those around him. He reportedly bragged about the horrific crime, even detailing his abuse of Jamie to fellow inmates. Some investigators believe that if Darren hadn't been caught, he could have gone on to become a serial killer. His twisted actions, manipulation, and complete lack of remorse left a lasting impression on the police and the public alike.